Hey folks, it's Spitz with Pixels and Pills at Digital Pharma East in Philadelphia 2012. It's my pleasure to have Amber Benson, who's VP of Innovation at IMC2. And there's a lot of talk. John Pugh was just on stage talking about really going beyond impressions and click-throughs and really coming to understand and utilize and push forward with what we really mean by engagement. How does that impact some of your work at IMC2?
Sure. Well, we're kind of unique at IMC2 because we're all about purpose-driven marketing. So we really believe that you start with your why. Why do you exist as a brand? And making money can't be the answer. So once you realize what that is, then it completely changes your perspective on what you're willing to give. And then what it does is when you come from a place where you're emanating from purpose, you know what you stand for. Instead of having to pull people to you, they are drawn to you like a magnet because you're connecting with them. You're making an authentic connection based on a shared value. And so I think that's something that we can really learn in pharma is how do we share what we believe in so there's something that is attractive about us. You know, we have so many great things to share. We represent hope. We represent healing. And if we came out and said that, people might come to us, right?
I've always felt it ironic that, a pharmaceutical medical device, they really improve the quality of life for millions and millions of people. And the reputation for especially the pharmaceutical industry, medical device with the recalls is so abysmal. It's only a couple notches below, let's say, tobacco.
Right.
Fast food has a better rep, and it's making people hyperglycemic and causing all sorts of problems. So why not be more open and vocal? And yet there is kind of a reactive sensibility. Healthcare brands feel like they need to protect themselves rather than actually engage with their constituents.
Yeah, and I think that's so true. I often say it's like, what other industry gives so much money to the research and development to improve the quality of people's lives than our industry? We should be proud to be part of the pharmaceutical industry. We shouldn't be defending ourselves for, oh, we're sorry we make money. We make money, but the value exchange is pretty good. We give you your life, right? We give you your health. So I don't think that we have to be ashamed that we work in pharmaceuticals. We should be proud of it, and we should go back to those original intentions that we all had. And what makes us happy and what makes this work so rewarding is that at the end of the day, we know that we actually help somebody.
For sure. And what kind of best practices do you recommend as an innovator in the field? Obviously, the dynamic is changing out from underneath us in terms of the channels, in terms of the devices, in terms of really the level of engagement that healthcare consumers, basically expect from us right now. How do you apply some of that to nuts and bolts solutions for your clients right now?
Yeah, well, for us, it all comes down to relationships. We believe that we've gone past the Mad Men era of, what can we find out about them to convince them and persuade them that they need our product. It really is about relationships. And so for us, we use those same kind of concepts. It's like it all comes back to just people. They're just people. So I'm a brand that stands for something. You're a person who needs something. Where can we meet? Wherever we can meet, we'll meet you on that level. So whether that's social, digital, out of home. And the thing is when you start looking at you start looking at it as a relationship, you kind of stop doing things that you wouldn't do in a typical relationship, right? You can kind of think about marketing like what if somebody called me up every day repeatedly and asked me about something that I didn't want to talk about? I wouldn't want to have a relationship with them. So why do we do that? Why do we send email reminders and all that kind of stuff? It's like when you start thinking about it that way, you realize that sometimes the things we do as marketers are just annoying. But if we could just learn about, again, giving value and not always looking to receive. That's something I love that John Pugh said. Someone said, well, what was the corporate objective with the serum game? He's like, to do something cool. To do something innovative, to see if it works, right? There's got to be, I believe in return on investment. I don't believe in spending money and putting money where it doesn't make sense. But occasionally as a leader, you have to have a vision for something, and you have to have a belief that when you give, you're going to receive. I believe that, and that's true in just regular life, right? Follow your passion, the money follows you. I think that's a lesson we could all learn.
Sure, the karma works in both directions too. And in that sense, there are pressure points both internally and externally. There's external pressure points in terms of remaining compliant, especially for branded information. Obviously, it's a heavily regulated environment, which makes pharma a little bit hesitant about the thresholds it feels it can or can't cross. At the same time, you've got entrenched infrastructure within the pharmaceutical companies, within the device manufacturers, that have trouble adjusting to change and embracing some of these new ideas. How do you approach that almost from a sociological point of view, where you need not so much convince them because they're already buying into social and mobile, but push the envelope just a little bit so they are eventually engaging with their constituents the way their constituents want to be engaged with?
Right. Well, it's that old, how do you eat an elephant? Well, one bite at a time, right? So I thought that the panel yesterday with all the strategy directors was fantastic, because they are the people who are really learned how to do this. First, you educate the people that you have to work with and your stakeholders, and you include them. So they are part of the mix. They've got relevant and important roles to play in managing risk, in determining whether or not we're making good investments. They're partners in your success. They're not obstacles. So I think part of it is just thinking about it, changing our perspective of how we look at that. And then you notice when they do that, all of them consistently have educated their stakeholders, partnered with them, and then they just took one success, one small project, use that as a stepping stone to get to another one, to get to another one, to get to another one, until one day they're doing really industry-changing things, and you're like, how did Peter Justison get OxyContin Mobile, or something like that? And it's because he didn't just wake up one day and try to push that through MLR. He's been working on it for years.
Yeah. One step at a time, and as we take a few more steps and start running a little bit, how do you see the future in the next 18 months, couple years, just given the transformative evolution that's been happening so recently?
Well, I hope what happens is we stop thinking about this as digital marketing, and then we just realize that it's marketing. And it's just, and even more than that, it's not even marketing anymore. It's connecting with consumers. And so we stop thinking about it as something that is special that we do, and we just think about it, it's what we do, and how do we do it better. That's what I'm hoping.
Perfect, Amber. Thank you so much. Amber Benson, VP of Innovation at IMC2, redefining essentially what we mean by digital healthcare engagement and the consumer. It's Spitz from Digital Pharma East in Philadelphia 2012, signing off. Thanks, Amber.